Before we start putting the rest of these mechanisms or these levers and whatnot back on the dual 1019, we need to address this part right here. This was the main reason. This is the main reason that the auto start was not working. So what needs to happen when you do the auto start, and this needs to happen on the auto return as well, is that this needs to move forward, and then there's you can't see it because of the stuff on the underside of that platter, but there's a little tab that comes through and catches this dog, and it pushes forward, and then the gears interact with the gears on the other side of the platter. So this needs to be able to have a little bit of additional, well, this is bone dry, a little bit of lubrication, so this can move without completely moving this dog until this post is like right up against it. And so, and what pushes this post up is this arm right here, because this is attached to the tone arm is underneath here. There's a post or a tube that goes through. This right here is cinched on by two screws, one right there and then one on the other side. And so that's what pushes along. As it moves toward the inside of the record inside groove, it pushes this along, and it pushes that guy into this post. So we need to get this figured out. We're gonna pop this off, clean it. It's already pretty bone dry, but we're gonna see if we can't use some I got this low count differential fluid, so we're gonna use that in between this tab right here, this brass tab, and the cam gear, and then we're gonna get some silicone grease to put on, like these. There's these little tiny posts on the underside of this. We're going to put a little dab of silicone on both of those posts to hopefully give it just enough lubrication to where this will move forward without necessarily moving the entire thing. Once we get that figured out, we're going to be hopping over here, checking out this little housing right here. That's where your platter bearings are. So we're going to take this apart, take a look at that, make sure we don't need to order another aftermarket part for this. And if that's good and we get this to where we want it, then we can start moving forward with the reassembly of this turntable. So we've got the cam gear lubricated and reinstalled. I used silicone on this. The manual, or the service manual, and on the message boards, and the original grease calls for this liquid graphite grease, which is fine, but when it goes, decades without serving, what will happen is when that graphite grease, at least the original stuff that was on here, the grease dries and you still have the graphite. And so there's a little pin on the end of this arm that follows the groove, and I don't know if you can see it, but on this one, this one wasn't too terribly bad, but like that graphite just gets ground into this plastic and just creates ruts. So that's why, that's one reason. The other reason is I like to use silicone because these aren't being made anymore. These are kind of getting hard to find, at least for a reasonable price. So we want to keep as much petroleum-based grease off of this cam gear, because without this piece right here, all the auto functions just will not work. And then you just have a nice little manual player. But yeah, so we got that installed. I won't know if I've got that auto start issue fixed until I have it completely put back together. But that's a future mic problem. So we've got the casing. This is the casing. This is the housing for the platter bearing. So there's a little rubber gasket in there. That seems to be in good shape. And then a little washer. And then these are your platter bearings, plastic ring 5 balls bearings. And that seems to be in good shape too. So we're gonna put this together and then put this guy back on and just work our way back down. So I think at least for tonight, I'll have all of these parts put back together. I am going to do this one last because I don't have the replacement idler wheel yet. I just sent off for a new one just the other day, and I need to check that capacitor to see if that's still all good to go. And if it's not, we'll need to track down a replacement. But yeah, so far there's not been any surprises putting this dual 1019 apart or back together, except for one surprise in that the ground for the tone arm also goes through the negative of, I think, the right channel, which I think is weird. And just to check it, my other over here, Darth Sidious, the turntable dude, the hair's messed, but it doesn't really matter. But I checked the configuration on my working dual 1019, and it does the exact same thing. It has the exact same wiring configuration to this. Um, it's it's just 4 wires. This is a muting switch, so that way, when the way the muting switch works is when that cam gear is rotating, like none of the vibrations. This breaks the contact of your positive leads out to your RCA cable, so none of the mechanical sounds get carried through to your sound system, which is pretty neat. Um, but yeah, there's only 4 wires, and the ground is through the negative, and so it's just weird to me because, like, on all the Gerards that I've worked on and rewired those terms, there's always like a specific wire for the ground. So, but hey, look, it works. I'm not going to question it. This Germans are it's a German turntable, and they're engineers and whatnot. Like, I think they're born with an engineering degree, and so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we've got enough of this stuff on here to where we can flip this over and test to see if the auto start feature will work. Um, the only things there, here's the only things that we don't have on there. This guy right here is for the manual lifting section. That's there's your AV input, connects to this muting switch, motor, power switches. And I noticed that I put this on backwards. So when we flip it over, just going to flip that around, because this is where the idler wheel sits, and then this is where the motor pulley goes through, where the motor is. So yeah, this guy needs to be over there. But other than that, everything is where it needs to be, and we're going to give it a shot. Oh, I'm an idiot. I thought, so this is where the motor goes. This is where the idler wheel sits. I just got confused because I was thinking that's where that rascal goes, but it does not go there. The rascal being the motor, it goes over here. So sweet, I don't have to swap this around. Okay, Platter's on. We're going to go through the cycle on this. The motor's not connected. There's no idler drive, and I don't even have the little decorative, the little doobly-doos, little whatever the hell these things are. These things, whatever the hell those are. Anyways, so we're going to run through and see if the auto start will work and make sure it doesn't catch or any wonkiness. So we're going to move it over to start. We got it set for the 7 tone arms. So that needs to come over. So that is setting down at the 7. Okay. Disengage. Oh, you know what? Those supports may be an issue here. So let's I'm going to try and readjust this, and we'll go again. Attempt number 2. I moved for the supports where they were absolutely blocking the movement. So we should see that move in. There we go. Oh, still only to the 10. That moves at the right spot. Okay, well, maybe let's see where 10 moves. Auto. I monkeyed with that, so let's go start. Okay. This isn't even, so that's about right for the 10. Let's get to the 7 again. probably need, I don't know if that's because this isn't level or these supports under here are blocking it. But the other thing, we'll worry about that later. Now I've got to worry about, I've put some screws in the wrong spot. Let's lift this guy up. Oh, Lord. That thing's 7 pounds. So when I first put this on, these screws right here, which are a part of the speed control mechanism, those screws don't go there. So they were too long and they were hitting the rim of this lip right here and wasn't letting the platter sit down on the bearing. So I'm going to try and I'm going to take these out. I'm going to try and find 2 other long screws that are somewhere in here. Somewhere. It's entirely possible that I've lost one of the screws, and if that's the case, we're going to be going to Ace to go find a replacement. And the other thing I just thought of is as to why that may not be sitting in the proper, the tone arm may not be sitting down in the proper place. Because I put just a little bit of this differential oil silicone grease on the other side, so it's in between this friction pad and this paddle, and that's what moves the tone arm. So it's probably got too much lubrication on there, and I just put a little bit on there, and this stuff isn't, and that differential fluid isn't exactly the smoothest. So we're going to first off find the screws. Second, take this little liver off and remove the silicone off of both of those pieces and go from there. I just hate doing things over again, especially when it's stupid bonehead mistakes. So I found the screws. So those are the right screws that are in there now. I went through all the little flathead metric screws. Thankfully, there's not a whole lot of variance in the sizes. Most of them are these stubby little dudes, and then you've got a handful that are a little bit longer. So this guy right here holds this part down and this part down, so it does double duty on that one. And then these 2 screws right here hold that electrical box to the chassis. But I ended up going through and unscrewing and oh, sorry, extreme close up. What? Anyways, and just undoing everyone until I found the next longest screw. And then as far as it not setting down the right spot, it's absolutely, this paddle does not need lubrication. I don't know why I put it on there. I've read on forums to put a little bit on there, don't put a little bit on there, but it is too slick. And so this paddle is moving, but it's not really directing the tone arm anywhere. So that's why it's not. And this is this little dude right here. When it moves, so when this depresses, it pushes this guy down, and that limits the tone arm movement. So that little springy bit's right there. And that's the official term of that, right? Springy bits. So we're going to call it a night. But for tomorrow, we're going to take this off, remove the silicone off of there, and run it through another time. And then we're going to get to work on Big Bertha over here. Yeah, we're going to put some new oil in you, girl. And test that capacitor.